Brad Marshan and the Florida Panthers came away with a big Game 5 victory thanks to his two massive goals, which could change his nickname from the Rat to something else, which I'll talk about in a moment. And the unsung hero of the game, that man right there, is not getting enough credit for what he did in the first period that kept the crowd at bay and kept the Panthers with a 2-0 lead. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Panthers Digest. I am Greg Andrews, your host as always, and hit that subscribe button down below because you need to stay up to date with anything and everything that has to do with your defending Stanley Cup champion, Florida Panthers. What a game number 5 last night. The Panthers dominated that game, took control from start to finish, and Brad Marshan was the catalyst behind the whole game. Bennett got in there as well. As I said in the last episode, I was looking for both Marshan and Bennett to have big games. And then you also had Sam Reinhart, who showed up in the process too. So the whole team, the big name players, are starting to really show up. Obviously, Marshan and Bennett have been the two standouts in the last few games. And Marshan just set a bunch of records, and the Panthers are still setting records. Bobrovsky is setting records. I mean, we are witnessing history, as I stated in one of my last videos. But what a game number 5. They have a 3-2 series lead in the Stanley Cup Finals, heading back to Sunrise for the game on Tuesday evening. It is going to be a big one. Can they close it out? We'll see. I am expecting, again, Brad Marshan and Bennett and Reinhart. I think everyone is really going to show up, even though the Oilers are saying, guys, we cannot falter in this. We will stand tall here. We will persevere through this time, just like we did in game number 4. But I see this going a little bit differently. I think the Cats learned from their mistake in game number 4. They didn't let this game slip away at all, even though there was a point in that third period when they were doing 6-on-5. They put Pickard back on the bench and tried to see what could happen. They did get a goal there, but thank goodness the Cats were able to get that empty netter and put that one to bed last night. So let's get into this. Let's talk about what Brad Marshan did last night. Nothing short of spectacular. Just eye-opening. What he did, he turned back the clock to what he did in 2011 when he won a Stanley Cup. I mean, unbelievable. The moves that he did. I think that goal that he had from the faceoff at center ice, that had to have been a call from the playbook. That was a play they had drawn up. I mean, Marshan just jumped. As soon as that puck hit, he went right through the middle of that center circle, took that puck, and never looked back. Let's take a look at it.
Now Marshan, split fence, and scores!
What a move by Brad Marshan. Unbelievable. Here's his second goal. Another one, I think this one's even more impressive because of what he was able to do with his deke on Wellman, who just had him sit on the ice. Check this one out.
Eventually won.
What a great little chip ahead and just putting on the moves. Incredible. Absolutely incredible, to say the least. We're going to take a look at the other two big goals that kind of put this one away. These are the 4. I'm not going to show the empty netter, obviously. But this is goal number 3 by Bennett. Put him on the board, gave him 15 overall in the playoffs. And then we have this one from Sam Reinhart. And Barkov, even though he's not scoring, he's setting up his guys. Like I said, it's those intangibles that Barkov is able to do. But Reinhart got out there and put that one in the back of the net. Man, what a game for the Panthers. And Brad Marshan, what can you not say about what he is doing in this playoff? So we're going to get into whether or not the Panthers will be able to bring him back, because with the play that he has been doing, with the kind of play he has been having in this postseason, he is looking like the Brad Marshan from 10 years ago. And it's scary to see. And the Panthers got him on the cheap, but we'll get into that in just a moment. So we're going to jump right into this stuff. 5-2 victory. It was more convincing than what it really looks like there. Those 2 goals that the Oilers did score were pretty much just an ineffective way of maybe just going for pride again. But the Panthers controlled this one from start to finish for the most part. And man, Brad Marchand just led the way. You could just feed off of his energy on the ice. He was out there to make a point, and I think he was trying to stick it to Boston and said, letting me go was not the greatest thing in the world. I still had gas in the tank, and I do believe the reason why they did let him go was because of his age, because of the injuries he was going through at the time. No other teams, I was surprised from what I've heard, called up and asked about a trade for Brad Marchand, and I do think it's because of his injuries that he was dealing with at the time. And the Panthers, first round conditional pick is all they had to give up to get that man who has been, now I think he is the Conn Smythe leader. I'm not 100% sure on that. I still think it's Bennett, but I think he is up there now. He could take home the Conn Smythe if he has a big game number 6 and the Panthers win the cup. If he scores another goal or two or gets a goal and an assist, he could win the Conn Smythe. But we'll see. It all depends on what Bennett can do as well. So we will see what happens there. So as we keep looking through this right now, the Panthers, they got all those pucks up there. They just need one more guys to close out this series back in Sunrise. And wow, wouldn't it just be so fitting to come back here and win the Stanley Cup 2 years in a row on home ice? The fans would love nothing more than that. So looking back at these stats from game number 5, I said this before. The Panthers need to do a better job of blocking shots. And if they're able to out-block their opponents, they're probably going to win the game. If they're putting up only 10, 11, 12 blocks, they're not going to win. They had 17 in the game last night. They needed that. In the face-off circle, there was a little better than the 50-50 split they had in game number 4. They were more physical, as they always are. A few less shots than the Oilers, but it didn't matter. The Panthers were shooting so well. They were passing it so perfectly. I mean, this team is looking like what they did in game number 3 last night. They were crisp. They were forechecking beautifully. Their defense was spectacular. And Bobrovsky, again, he's the unsung hero in game number 5 because of his play in that first period. Had he not had some of these incredible stops in that first 5-7 minutes of the game, I don't think the Panthers would have been able to win this game, because there was a couple of instances where the Oilers could have probably scored a couple of goals. They had a couple of runs there where they were controlling, they were crashing the net, and Bob was just incredible. He was a wall, reaching out there, sticking out the pad, and just had some incredible stops. Really, even though his save percentage was 905 or 907, something like that at the end of the game, it was a stronger performance than what people think. So these are the numbers. The one thing I really want you guys to look at is the TOI. I keep bringing this up, and I don't think analysts are bringing it up enough in terms of comparing the Panthers TOI to the Oilers TOI for their big name guys. I mean, take a look at the middle circle there for Brad Marchand's time on ice, just under 14 minutes. There's one player, Sam Reinhart, who had 20 plus minutes from forwards and centermen. Defensively, we already know the defensemen play a little bit more in that Ekblad, Forsling, Jones. They always play the upper echelon of those minutes for the defensemen, and as well as just the whole team. It's always usually Jones leading the way. But I'll show you guys in a little bit the difference in terms of the time on ice for the Oilers versus the time on ice for the Panthers. And I said this before, I do think it's starting to take effect on their team. I think their team is starting to get gassed pretty quickly. Like, they're trying to put on those afterburners right away. It's taking a toll on them. If they don't score, if their crowd is kept at bay, which they were, you're pretty much putting them to bed for the evening. I mean, I know in Florida they came back in game number 4, but let's call that an anomaly, just like game number 3 kind of was, where the Panthers ran away with that game and literally just in every facet, they didn't allow Edmonton Oilers to do anything positive on the ice in that game. So look at Bobrovsky too, a 905 save percentage, Still a very solid game. It was that first period that did it. It kept the crowd quiet. It kept them at bay. It really, I think, gave a boost to the Panthers, saying that, hey, man, he is on it tonight. What happened in game number 4, people said Bobrovsky didn't look like his normal self. Goalies are going to have off days. Maybe that was his off day. And now they're going into game number 6 with a 3-2 series lead. Big time. But remember, guys, look at those TOI numbers and remember them. So again, Brad Marchand, 10 goals, 10 assists, 22 games this playoffs. He's the first player with at least 5 goals in 2 separate Stanley Cup finals with 2 different teams. The last time was 2011 with Boston, and they won. Will it be the same this year? We will find out. We will see what the Panthers and Oilers have in store for game number 6. Will they close it out, or will we actually see a game number 7 as things look right now? If Marshan, Bennett, and company come out swinging, I don't think they're going to look back. I think it's their cup to lose right now. They have the upper hand. They have home ice advantage, even though they're of a better road record than home record. I don't think it's going to matter. I think this game is the one that they're going to close out the series. And we're going to say that this is probably the best 6-game series in a Stanley Cup Finals history because it doesn't feel like it's 6 games right now if it is closed out there. It feels like a lot longer because 3 of those first 4 games went to overtime. So to me, this is probably the best 6-game Stanley Cup Finals series there has been because it has looked so even for most of the time, except for the 2 games that the Panthers played last night and then game number 3. Other than that, it has been a neck and neck playoff experience for these 2 teams. So Brad Marchand has 6 goals in 5 games in the finals right now. Incredible numbers. And he's the 7th player to have 5+ goals in multiple finals. The last guy to do it, he's a pretty damn good player. Mario Lemieux in 91-92. That's a long time. That's a long time. So Brad Marchand, and his 6 goals are the most for a player who is 35 years or older in the Stanley Cup Finals. And it's most by any player since Esa Tikkanen in 1988. And his 5 goals on the road were the most since 1922. So just keep going on and on about what Brad Marchand at 37 years young has been able to do, not just in the Stanley Cup Finals, but in the Stanley Cup playoffs in general. He's having one heck of a postseason. And his plus minus, he's at plus 18. He leads the playoffs right now, and he's tied with Lundell. And it's just a list, it's just a slew of Panthers. I think it's the first 4 or 5 guys for plus minus that are leading the playoffs right now. They're all Panthers. Incredible numbers. And this is his second best postseason for Marchand since 2018, 2019, if we're talking about stats. He had 23 points then, he has 20 points now, he's got 10 and 10. Absolutely dynamite from this Cats team. More importantly, from Brad Marchand, who his buddy there, Sam Bennett, he showed up too. He had a nice goal, as I showed you guys in that opening segment, that he came out there. He's sticking it right into those corners, man. He's just being a sniper right now. And his hockey IQ is just off the charts in this playoffs. He's smart. He knows the rules. I know everybody's like, oh, he's dirty, he's this and that. No, he just knows the rules. He knows how to play. It's not about loopholes or anything. It's understanding what is legal and what is not legal. How can you go in front of the net, be able to put the puck into the back of the net and not do it where the pucks, where the referees are going to call it a no goal or they're going to call a penalty on you. He is that cerebral with understanding how to play the game. That is what I think it is more about for Sam Bennett. So this is what I wanted to show you guys about the time on ice for the Edmonton Oilers. And first of all, look all the way at the bottom. Pickard, 778 save percentage. The question now is going to be, who are they going to go with in game number 6? Both goalies have been sliding. And I loved on the broadcast last night, the guy between the glass, between the benches, with Skinner right there. They're saying, who do you think starts in game 6? And Skinner literally is a foot away from him. And he goes, I think you got to go back to Skinner. You got to go back to Skinner. And Skinner can hear everything that he's saying. The guy's on the headset and he's talking. And he knows he can't say you got to go with Pickard. You can't. You know, and I just think it's going to be really, really a challenge for this Edmonton Oilers team to find a way to get their goalies' mindset, both of them, back into the game to where they were, you know, where Pickard came into that game 4 situation and was just dynamite. He had a phenomenal game. He had some great saves. I know he gave up the one late and I'm not trying to do this because I'm not, kissing the Oilers right now, but I'm just saying he did have a very good game. You got to call it what it is. But what I want to show you here, though, is the time on ice. Look at Draisaitl. Look at McDavid. McDavid, almost 26 minutes of ice time. Draisaitl, 23 plus minutes. And look at Bouchard, almost 28 minutes on ice. Those minutes are so different compared to the Florida Panthers, who literally every single player on their squad was in double digits, yes, and like the low teens, somewhere around there, except for Sam Reinhart, who was just over 20 minutes. And then their defenseman, that one guy at 27 minutes, Bouchard, almost 28. That's a lot to put on a guy's wheels when he's out there. Those are tired legs, beat up bodies. How much of a toll is it going to take on their stars? We'll find out in game number 6, and more importantly, in game number 7, if it does get to that. How are the Florida Panthers going to respond? Are they going to keep that physical play up, keep battering them, try to force them onto the ice so they're playing more? And I don't know if the Edmonton coach, Knoblauch, is he going to keep doing what he's doing? I know you want those guys out there as much as possible because they give you the best chance to win, but are you going to take the risk of having those guys burn out, which is kind of what we're seeing, even though McDavid did have a goal and Draisaitl had an assist? Still, I see that as fatigue factor setting in when you need your guys most. Can they perform where you want them to perform? So we're going to keep moving on here, guys. There's Brad Marchand. Plus 18. I love these numbers right now. He's got 20 points in total behind the 22 from Tkachuk and the 22 from Sam Bennett. Everybody's playing great on this team right now. They are a cohesive unit, like I said before. They know where each other's going to be. They know how they're going to move. They know the plays that they're just connected. Each one of these guys seems to be connected at the hip right now. They know how to think. They know the next move for the other player. It's just the best team play that I've seen from any team in the playoffs right now. And so many people have said, it's not one player. Even Gretzky said it on the broadcast last night. It's not one player that can win you a Stanley Cup. It's got to be a whole team effort. Not even 2 or 3 guys. It's got to be a team effort. If not everybody's in and they're not playing and performing up to par, your team's not going to win. And the Panthers are starting to really click in the games that they need to win. And last night, I said that was a must-win game for the Panthers. If they lost, I figured it was going to be over. Even now, I'm not going to crown them. I'm not going to say anything like that because this series has been so just, you don't know what to expect. You can't point out anything that, it's going to go this way, this way, this way, this way. I didn't think last night's game was going to go in the direction it did. I figured the Cats might win by 2 goals because of an empty netter. I was off by 1. They won by 3. But I thought it would be a little closer from what we saw on the ice than what we're actually seeing on the scoreboard. That game yesterday was so far off. I mean, the Panthers really took it to them. It was a phenomenal effort all around, offensively and defensively, by that team. The Panthers were just great. And Sergei Bobrovsky tied the NHL record for most road wins in a single postseason by a goaltender, last achieved by Binnington in the 2019 Blues series. Awesome. Again, they're breaking records. This team is breaking records left and right. I just don't know how to look at this team anymore and just say to people who are doubting and saying, they're dirty, they're this, they're that. They are, like I said, the other teams that I listed in the last episode who were the physical players. The guys who are the cerebral ones, the high hockey IQ. That is what this team is. They're built on physicality, the rough you up, the wear you down style, the high hockey IQ, the team mentality, not just the 3-4 guys that are there that are your stars. They're going to win you a game. It's a team effort all around by this Panthers squad. And to show you a few things, the Cats are 10-3 on the road. They tied the record with 6 other teams. 5 of them won the cup. I like their chances right now to close out this series just because of that. I think they're going to ride this wave of this momentum wave into game number 6. I think Bobrovsky knows how to close out a series. I think they learned from last year's 7-game series against the Oilers and said, you know what? It's a best of 3. Let's take the first two and not do a one, then lose, then take one. They're like, let's just close it out at home and give our fans something to really talk about. Let's give the NHL world something to see. And they're going to, I believe. It's going to be close. But again, I don't know. This series has been so unpredictable for every single game. I don't think even any analyst has been correct in their calls. Everybody picked the Oilers to win last night. So the unpredictableness of this series, the unpredictable factors, whatever you want to call it, I don't even know if I'm using the correct terminology in the real words, but it has been a series, a classic, an instant classic, even just from the first game. So, sorry, I don't know why Siri keeps doing that. She's being ridiculous. But anyways, couple of quotes from the game. Here we go, guys. Sergei Bobrovsky on Brad Marchand. He's amazing. He's been a leader for us. He's been scoring big goals for us. Tonight, he made the hell of an effort by himself. And man, did he ever. We'll show you those goals one more time before we get out of here. Paul Maurice on Brad Marchand. What he can do under duress in small areas is world class. It's as good as I've seen. He's even gone on further to say that when he first knew of Brad Marchand and he's seen him play, and when he first found out he was going to get here and be on the Cats team, on the roster and play, he said he knew he was a great player, but what he has been doing in this playoffs, like he said, has been world class. World class. And then Sam Bennett on Marchand's 2 goals. I mean, they're both unbelievable, but the second one, I don't know how he did that. We're going to have to watch that clip a couple times and ask him to teach me something. I love this team's funny, boisterous side. It is incredible to see. And what is even better is they are all game on for whoever is going to, take the reins in whatever game it might be. Even if Marchand stays or goes after the season, it's going to be a postseason to remember forever for everyone on this team, including Marchand. And this is the big kicker, guys. Will he stay or will he leave? With his performance this postseason, as it has been getting better, especially in the Stanley Cup Finals, we got him on the cheap, a conditional first-round pick, next to nothing, because he was injured. He's aging. He's 37. The Boston Bruins didn't want to extend his contract and give him the money that he wanted. People were saying before the playoffs that he will probably stay. He could take $3.5–4 million a year or something. Now with his play, he's been showing everybody he's still got gas in the tank. He can still play at an incredibly high level. And that, to me, might say he might be looking for the business side of things and take more money over winning more championships, possibly. But is he just saying that to possibly deter other teams? I don't know. But his play has been saying he deserves that $5.5 to $6.5 million per year, at least for a couple of years. I mean, I see him playing probably till 40, maybe 41. And I hope he makes the decision to stay as a Florida Panther and try to win more titles with this team. I think he will do it. I think Sam Bennett will do it. I think Aaron Ekblad will. Don't break up a squad that is running the table right now and playing so well. I could see this Cats team making it to the Stanley Cup Finals for the next 2 or 3 years if they all re-sign with the team for that amount of time. But we'll see what happens. We still have to focus on game number 6, Tuesday evening, guys. It is going to be a barn burner. I can't wait. And one last little stat. The 89 goals that the Florida Panthers have scored this postseason, that's the most in 31 years. I'll leave you guys with that stat. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Panthers Digest. I am your host, Greg Andrews. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and be respectful of one another. And those of you who keep coming back to watching these episodes, please subscribe if you haven't yet. Remember, it's free, and you will get to know exactly when I post a brand new video and it goes live. Thank you guys so much for your time. I do appreciate all of your support. Go Cats! I'll post another one in a day, maybe 2. Let's go, baby.